Ladies and gentlemen, imagine you're driving through the Swiss Alps in 1963. The snow is melting, the espresso is strong, and suddenly a low white wedge glides past you like a spaceship in a hurry to report back to Jupiter. No grille, no handles, no roofline, just a rolling sculpture with a name that means turtle? Welcome to the bizarre, brilliant paradox that is the Chevrolet Corvair Testudo by Bertone. It wasn't just a car, it was the turtle that outran the hares of design history. Before we dive into this turtle shell time machine, smash that subscribe button like you're slamming shut a gullwing canopy. More insane vehicles are waiting for you right here. So, let's rewind to the early 1960s, when the world was still obsessed with tail fins, and Italy was trying to convince America that their cars didn't need to look like rocket ships from a drive-in movie. Enter Carrozzeria Bertone, a coach builder older than your uncle's jokes, founded in 1912 and still swinging after 2 world wars, a few recessions, and an era where plastic was more feared than AI is today. In 1963, Bertone dropped a bombshell in Geneva. Built entirely in-house on a shortened Chevrolet Corvair Monza chassis donated by General Motors, the Testudo wasn't just a concept car, it was a flex. A rolling announcement that said, "Hey Detroit, look what we can do with your leftover rear-engine parts." Bertone's goal? Seduce the American market and flaunt its growing industrial power. The name Testudo, Latin for turtle, was no accident. It defined the form, a seamless shell divided by a razor-straight beltline, suggesting both agility and armor. You know, like a tortoise that could outstyle a Ferrari. Only one was made. One. A single, running, hand-built prototype that took an estimated 15,000 hours of labor. Roughly the same amount of time it takes a politician to answer a yes or no question. It debuted on March 3, 1963 at the 33rd Geneva Salon, where photographers reportedly sprinted toward it like it was handing out free cheese. And the man who drew this design lightning bolt? None other than a baby-faced Giorgetto Giugiaro, barely in his 20s, sketching out the future from his perch at Bertone. Under the watchful eye of Nuccio Bertone, Giugiaro wasn't just drawing a car, he was reshaping how the automotive world thought about curves, glass, and the very silhouette of speed. His sketches broke the two-part thinking of profile versus top view. The Testudo was one continuous thought in motion, one clean gesture from nose to tail. To build it, Bertone didn't just cut the Corvair's wheelbase to 2,400 millimeters, 94½ inches. They reinforced the frame but left the drivetrain untouched. The engine was Chevrolet's familiar air-cooled Turbo Air Flat 6, 2,372 cubic centimeters, 145 cubic inches of horizontally opposed philosophy, breathing through 2 single-chester downdraft carburetors and putting out around 81 brake horsepower. Not exactly face-melting speed, but as Bertone himself might have said, who needs speed when you look this fabulous? The layout was classic Corvair, rear-engined, rear-wheel drive, and surprisingly balanced thanks to the engine weight over the back axle. The transmission? A 4-speed manual transaxle. The front end floated on wishbones, coil springs, telescopic dampers, and an anti-roll bar, while the rear used the early Corvair swing axle layout with coil springs and telescopic dampers. Brakes? Drums all around. Remember, it was 1963, ABS still stood for Ain't Braking Smoothly. But where the Testudo truly mutated from car to art was the body. This wasn't just sheet metal, this was coach-building kabuki theater. The roof, windscreen, and side glass were fused into a single forward-hinged canopy, like the cockpit of a fighter jet designed by someone who drinks a lot of vermouth. Early version wore Corvair wheels and white-wall tires. Cute, but those were quickly swapped for wire wheels that still stick with the car today like a loyal pet ferret. The rear lights were embedded in the bumper and made from polycarbonate, a big deal at the time because plastic was for toys, not taillights. And the front end, so smooth it made a bar of soap jealous. No grille, no vents, just a calm, pearlescent face staring into the future. Inside, things got weirder. The steering wheel looked like it had escaped from an airplane. Rectangular, chromed, with black handles that made you wonder whether you were driving or defusing a Cold War missile. Instruments sat in an inverted L-shaped cluster, stacked vertically to leave the windshield view completely unobstructed. Visibility was almost 360 degrees, perfect for admiring all the dropped jaws as you cruised by. The seating? Reclined so low that chiropractors still use it in ethics debates, but not uncomfortable. Giugiaro had drawn headrests, but they never made it into the final build. Why? Style over spines. Now don't go thinking this was a trailer queen. The Testudo actually saw road use. Bertone drove it to the Geneva show. Giorgetto Giugiaro drove it home. One night he even picked up his new bride Maria Teresa in it, causing such a commotion outside Fiat's design studios that dozens of employees missed their buses. And that, my friends, is what we call foreplay, Turin style. Unfortunately, all good things must meet a Shell-sponsored disaster. During a promotional shoot in the mid-1960s, the Testudo got rear-ended at speed by another Bertone dream car, the Alfa Romeo Kanguro. The impact was so severe, Bertone nearly exploded from his tailored Italian suit. The Kanguro was declared scrap. The Testudo survived, but was shelved. Repairs were too expensive. It wasn't until the 1990s that the Testudo was restored under Bertone's new design boss, Luciano D'Ambrosio. It returned to the public eye in 1996 at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. Older, wiser, still jaw-dropping. Even today, collectors, designers, and dreamers look at it and mutter, "Why didn't they build more?" Park the Testudo next to any 1963 production car, and it's like setting a UFO beside a soup can. While Detroit was still dipping everything in chrome and fins, Giugiaro was slicing through the air with a razor belt line and sculptural minimalism. The Testudo's design wasn't just futuristic, it was post-future. It fused side and top views into a single organic form. This wasn't styling, it was automotive origami with an Italian accent. That's why designers like Anatole Lapine of Porsche fame openly acknowledged their love for the Testudo. You can see its DNA in the Miura's front end, the Alfa Montreal's lighting motifs, and even the Corvette C3's sugar scoop profile. The Testudo wasn't just a showpiece. It was a ripple in the design continuum, still felt decades later. In a single stroke, it took us from post-war excess to mid-century modern cool. If you ever wondered how we went from tail fins to wedges, this turtle started it. Now, as for the money, there was no original price tag. You couldn't just stroll into Bertone and say, "I'll take the turtle with a side of wire wheels, grazie." After the crash, Bertone reportedly offered the damaged Testudo for $10,000 back in 1974. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $65,000 modern dollars. Imagine picking up one of the most influential cars of the 20th century for the price of a decent vacation home with a broken pool. But when the Testudo finally hit the auction block in 2011 at RM Sotheby's Villa d'Este sale, it sold for €336,000, around $476,000 at the time. And today? Well, it's priceless in the truest sense. There's only one, no duplicates, no replicas, just chassis 292722272757, still gleaming, still staring down history with that smooth, eyeless face. And finally, a huge grazie to the legends keeping this channel alive, our YouTube sponsors. Without you, we'd be forced to build concept cars from IKEA parts and duct tape. You make this madness possible, and we salute you with a slow canopy-style salute and a pop-up wink. Until next time, may your tires be round, your neighbors tolerable, and your design choices less prone to rear-end collisions.